Oh, it's going to be one of those ones where I'm the only one talking. Dale and Lori, I know you'll chat with me. Can we hear me?
No.
We can't.
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can hear me.
Yes.
I'll move the microphone a little closer to my face to make sure we can hear me. I don't have my monitors lined up. Nope, I didn't invite Fireflies. I denied them. Megan's doing great. Larry, you doing good tonight?
Yeah, if I can get you. Um,
Yeah, fabulous. I like to try to get y'all talking before we get going usually, but I might have a tough crew tonight, tough crowd. It sound quiet.
you
That's
say
okay.
we're going to do next Wednesday?
Larry, that's a different group, baby. We're not talking about
I
that tonight.
know. Oh,
We'll
okay. I
talk
was just
about
going to
that
say I'll think
tomorrow.
about you at Boma.
We'll talk. Larry's from our Accelerate group, our group coaching. He's trying to just hijack the meeting. It's okay. You can hijack a little bit. Yeah, man. Yeah, and we are doing next Wednesday because I'm going to be at the expo, Larry, with you.
Yeah, well, I'll think about you while I'm at Boma.
Oh, you'll be at Boma by that point.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you. Can we see my screen?
Yep.
Good. Thank you. I'm going to move my chat around, move my Zoom windows around. That way I can read the chat, hopefully, as I go through all this fun stuff. Tonight, nutrition for runners. Last month, we did strength for runners. So, obviously, I take a lot of running focus. If we've never met before, I am Coach Tom. You might have seen me on the course running around like a lunatic, driving my wife crazy. But the focus tonight is fueling your finish. So, any runners out there, feeling stuck, especially with fueling, tired of putting miles in and not seeing the body composition or performance that you feel you deserve. I hope this training hits pretty hard to home. I've been in fitness and nutrition for over 15 years. I've helped runners rebuild their body from the inside out, focusing on fueling and strength training, building stronger muscles, and creating energy and the recovery. I feel that you need to crush PRs out there. And I'm gonna juggle and mute Heidi as she chimes in. We might just go with the mute all button tonight. It had to be somebody I already work with, Heidi, that was making a scene. But yeah, that's what we're gonna dive into tonight. Just focusing on nutrition to to hit PRs. If you have questions, I've got a window open with the chat. I'm looking at your faces up top. I'm looking at my screen down here. So throw the questions up there as you got them. I also did leave time for a Q&A at the bottom. But the goal, show you how to fuel before, during, after runs. So you feel like your body's responding. Hopefully, with this fueling, you'll run faster, recover stronger, and just finish feeling like there's gas left in the tank. With that, I always like to, I just muted everybody, so let's throw it in the chat. But before we get started, how long's everybody been running for? To at least get y'all engaged if I'm doing most of the audio on here. 3 years for Tony, 6 years for Carrie, Lindsay, 12 years on and off since high school, 5 years, 10 years, 4 years, 5 years, 1 year. All right. Holly, I like it. Good. So we got 8 years, 15 years. They still going. 15, 15. A lot of long-term runners since COVID. I mean, I was running before COVID, but I feel like I probably started to get my stride thanks to COVID. 2 years, 2012, 9 years. Three, seriously, but ran a lot in high school. I will start. Ashley, you inspired me. I'll give a little backstory for those that don't know. I did not always look like the guy in the photos there. I was the last kid to finish a mile every year in high school. In junior high school, I hated doing the mile challenge, the presidential fitness challenge. I hated that. I couldn't do a pull up, a sit up, any of those, but those were quick and you were done with them pretty fast. The mile, I felt like I was going forever. It was probably 20 something minutes to get myself done, and that's okay. The dreaded pull up, yes. And It took me getting my butt whooped in a bar one night to decide to finally at 23 years old walk into a gym and said, "Look, I gotta do something about myself and kind of change my life." And after the first year, I still didn't know what the hell I was doing. Didn't know, but I started to enjoy it, started gaining confidence from it. Still hated to run for the vast majority of that. I ended up becoming a group fitness coach almost 10 years ago, and half of that class was running. So I had people on the treadmills, and part of that was you had to take classes and you had to do it as well. So I was kind of forced into running, but I was already fit at this point. So I felt good. I felt confident. And then on a whim, and by on a whim, I had some members goading me to sign up for a race, and I don't do anything. Anybody knows me, I don't do anything small. So I didn't sign up for a 5K. I didn't sign up for a 10K. I saw the 2017 Star Wars Challenge at Disney, and yeah, why start with a 5K? Let's just do a 10K and a half in one weekend. And that was stupid. And I don't recommend anybody does that. And I did the same challenge the next year, 2018. 2019, I got married actually the weekend of the race, so I wasn't able to attend that one. There's my wife in the center picture. Bless her for dealing with me dressing in these silly costumes. And yeah, I kind of lost my stride, I guess you would say, until Run Disney came back. And again, don't do anything small. Why jump into a half or another challenge when I can sign up for Dopey? And I was just talking about this with one of my one-on-one clients, and I did I did whatever the first Dopey was back, 2022. I think that would put me 23, 24, 25. And then I'm signed up for this year. This will be year 5 doing Dopies. And now I've branched out to doing runs outside of just Run Disney and do local runs. And I think next year is going to be the year of traveling because a lot of people I currently work with, Erin, who I just talked to, she's hopefully heading up to Marine Corps. If anybody's signed up for that, I am praying for you. Um, Hopefully get myself to Bird in Hand next year, and Honolulu, just it seems like a good idea to be out there and out with all the runners hanging out because it's a good vibe. So a lot of new runners, a lot of experienced runners. That's who I am. But let's get to the agenda of the night. Again, I'm going to show you lots of silly pictures of me. Actually, that's the last one, last silly picture of me. But today, we're going to learn why nutrition is one of I put the number one missing piece in most runners' plans. I also think strength training and nutrition goes side by side there, where I think if you got that triangle down, the cardio, the nutrition, the strength training, you're just going to be unstoppable. That's how I feel when I run. If you couldn't tell, tonight we'll cover how to balance carbs, proteins, and fats for performance, what to eat before, during, and after your runs. And a big question I got that kind of sparked me doing a nutrition focus was how to feel smart if you're using GLP-1s, Ozempic, Wegovy, semaglutide, that running the gamut. I hope some people that asked for that are on the call tonight, and I hope I deliver with that. And then quick meal ideas, implementation hacks, all that fun stuff. Oh man, I thought I got rid of that animation, but more miles cannot fix bad fueling. The truth is, most runners are trying to outrun a nutrition problem. A lot of people come to me and say, if I run more, I'm just going to lose weight, or if I push harder, I'll finally break through the plateau. But more mileage without proper fueling, it's not really fitness. It's just kind of fatigue on repeat. So when you underfuel, 60% of runners underfueling daily. When you underfuel, what happens in your body is your glycogen stores drop. That's your body's primary energy source when you're running. With that, your metabolism slows down, your cortisol, stress hormones go up, recovery time tends to double, your sleep starts going all over the place, hunger starts to skyrocket. With all of those things, that's where you get that 40%, report of chronic fatigue or recurring injuries. As a coach, that's one of the things that absolutely kills me is hearing about, somebody training so hard for and I just got off the phone with my client Erin, and we just talked about this. Her first dopey, she trained for 7, 8 months, and COVID shut it down. So it just didn't happen. So it was like, oh man, imagine putting in all that work and then you get an injury or the world goes kaput. So that's what really kills me as a coach. And I'm diving through muting people for all that those sound effects. We'll figure out who it is. And then I'll just keep muting you. We come off if you need to. But I'm a strong believer that, no one is lazy, especially if you're signed up for a race, if you're doing in the work. People aren't, we're not generally broken, but your body does tend to protect you because it just doesn't trust that it's getting enough energy. And you know, you can't, I'm a big, you can't train your way out of that poor diet, out of poor nutrition. So the right fuel just makes you feel real good. How many people out there, hmm, how many people think they eat around 1,500 calories? I'm gonna throw a random one out there. Nope, not close. Less. Lisa, I know yours. Kat, and I know yours already. Ashley, I tried to. Carrie, I tried. Okay, yeah, close. Denise, nope. Denise, I know yours too. Amy, I know your calories too. Close. All right. Usually 2,300. Oh, Tony. Tony knows how to eat. What's up? Around 1,300. Now, I am looking at a little chat box, and outside of the people that I currently work with and I'm experienced with, I have no idea anything about you. I have 1,500. That's why I pulled it out of my backside, and it was just a random number I decided to throw out there. But I don't know your height. I don't know your weight, your even some of your gender. But names could go either way sometimes. I don't know your full breakdown. I don't know your activity level right now. I don't. A lot of factors coming in. If you're starting dopey training and you're doing 30-minute run twice a week plus a 3 mile run on the weekend, your nutrition it changes. It changes between what you're doing in July when you start and what you're doing in December towards the finish line. So Sally, that's a perfect one to end on. I'm honestly not sure how many calories I eat each day. Ashley with the cherry on top right here. So I know for sure I for sure know I'm under fueling. So that's what I was really wanting to get at here is a lot of people out there I've discovered think they're eating enough, but when we start logging things and tracking things, I usually see about people falling 300 to 800 calories short, and that's on a daily basis. Your body goes in a protection mode or it goes in a breakdown mode. Hopefully it goes a little protection, but hopefully we can avoid the breakdown. Christina, it is pumpkin spice season. If you saw my post on Instagram, make sure to go engage with it because I'm giving away a bottle of pumpkin spice protein. Little shameless promo there as I saw pumpkin spice. But pumpkin spice protein is on the line on my Instagram post if you want it. It's my new favorite, and they'll only sell it for a month, so it's gonna drive me crazy. But yeah, that's the why I feel more miles isn't gonna fix poor fueling. So I like to I like to reframe how people think about nutrition, and hopefully we grasp this. Training stimulus. What is it? I'll get you engaged while I try to figure out who I got to mute next. What's our training stimulus? There we go. There's that mute. Nope, I didn't mean to ask you to unmute. Training stimulus, running, weightlifting, anything like that. Any kind of training you do, that's the stimulus. Then we go into recovery mode. So fueling is the response. With that, your body adapts. So when you run, you are breaking your body down. If you've heard the terms cortisol, catabolic, running, while good for you, also has a negative effect. So we want that negative effect because what happens next is that adaptation. Your body has to adapt, it has to get better, and you perform better. So that recovery process, that one right there, second one on there, that's powered by your nutrition. So that's that's where that adaptation actually starts. That's where you start getting stronger. So, you can keep throwing them in the chat. I would love to keep hearing, but like if your recovery feels slow, throw it in there. If your legs tend to always feel heavy, if you're always sore, that's just curious. I like getting these conversations going. Nobody's going to admit to being sore. That's okay. But that's generally your metabolism, your body saying, "Hey, I'm going to need I'm going to need fuel to rebuild." Liz, that again, not really sure about your current scenario, but Kat, I know you're the queen of the DOMs. You're the queen of the DOMs. She's my bodybuilding runner. Um, but that might be a cue. The body needs a little more fuel. Think of your body, it's got to rebuild. The training's kind of like the construction site. The food is the building materials. If there's not enough material, that whole project slows down, it collapses, and and that's no bueno. So like keep them chatting, keep them chatting. How would everybody describe their energy lately? If you could tell it's 6:30, I've been up since 4:30. I'm shocked. I love when I get on these calls because I was tired earlier and my energy comes right back to life. So give me a tired, it's an up and down, good some days, strong AF we'll go with. It said depends on the day. Tired, up and down, tired. Ashley's ready for bed. I have to do these things earlier. Good some days, start to tank. Coffee is blood lately? Oh, okay. I might frame that answer. Coffee is blood. I'm getting better from having some wicked virus. I mean, that's a whole different type of energy. So that's virus is gonna hold you down. Sickness is always gonna hold you down. Hopefully proper nutrition can help expedite that healing process, that sickness process. I'm just looking, my chat's up here, up and down for sure. I get up at 4:30 a.m., but around this time I'm feeling tired and wanting to go to bed. I get that at like 2 o'clock, and then I get on here and I'm just jacked up again, jazzed up. So, all right, cool. So there's probably a little room for improvement on the nutrition front, is what I'd say. So really the big three that you hear about in nutrition, carbs, protein, and fat. So, it's not a buzzword, it's a performance tool, even though I think protein is the biggest buzzword in the fitness world right now. It it's been low carb, it's been low fat, and now it's high protein, and I am here for it. I love it, but because we're running, I'm going to put the emphasis on carbs tonight. Um, Carbs are the body's, primary, the preferred fuel source. It's, oh man, and I should do like an award or a prize for who calls out my misspelling first, and I will always dog myself if I do it. I was typing fast. The primary energy source. No, the primary energy source. So carbs are those are the bad boys. That's what you want in your body. It's stored as glycogen actually in your muscles, and think of it think of it like the endurance battery pack. So when that battery runs out, that's when your body slams the brakes. I'm not even going to have you type in all night because I know the answer is probably a resounding yes with the runners that I have on here. A lot of people, I'm sure, use gels or they use Stroop waffles or they use some kind of fuel. That is smart. I support it. I'm here for it. And generally we want about, and this will people I'm currently working with 3 to 5 grams per pound of body weight. That might be different based on numbers I have calculated for you and your particular goals. So I would not recommend running this through a calculator if we're already dialed in. I've used all of your metrics that we were talking about before: gender, height, weight, activity. Um, I'm missing one, but I figure out all that. But this is a general rule of thumb for most people that'll get by. If we're running long distances, I'm gonna say let's skew more towards 5. Running shorter distances, let's skew more towards 3. But now carbs are the preferred fuel. The protein is it's the building block. It's the repair crew. It's something that after every run I think people should be not just taking in carbs, they should be taking in protein because what happens is your muscle fibers break down and protein at its heart, at its core, it's a combination of amino acids and your body needs those amino acids are the building blocks of muscle. So you run all day, people don't get enough protein, and then the body just tends to break down. It breaks down no muscle, and that tends to be where injury comes from. So no protein, really, really no progress, especially on body composition changes. I lean towards zero point 0.8 to 1.2 grams per pound of body weight. It might change for somebody again. If we're somebody who's working one-on-one and you're only taking in 75 grams of protein every single day, and you should be taking in 180, that makes me a bad coach if I tell you to start taking 180 in tomorrow. So we work our way up. We try to improve it on the regular. But good rule of thumb, go do some math when you get off here. But I mean, let's keep it simple. If you're 200 pounds, you should be getting about 200 grams of protein per day. And I would give a resounding, I'm almost positive the vast majority on here, unless you're in my crew already, are hitting the protein goals. If you're in my crew and you're not, then we need to have a conversation. I'll talk to you later. But let's jump to fats. Again, low fat. Low fat was anybody remember when that craze was? I feel like I was alive, but it was not I was a little younger. So I remember the big low fat craze. Everything had to be low fat or fat free. And fats help so much with hormone support. Snack wells. Definitely the mid 90s. Okay. Yeah, I was like 10 years old. Why are we talking about snacks? Snack wells, low fat snacks? They know. Y'all know the snacks. But fats help with hormone balance, satiety, and endurance. And hormone balance, that's a big conversation these days, is really optimizing your hormones. And if you don't have the proper level of fat, things can go wrong. So generally for men on the call, you will see your testosterone drop, which is going to lead to feeling tired, feeling groggy, and all of that nasty stuff that comes with low testosterone, poor sex drive. Um, for women, you also have testosterone in your body, so you will see that, but the lack of fats tends to hit you a little harder. I have, you know, in my history coaching, I think the most severe case that I ever worked with was somebody who hadn't had a period in 2 years, and she was freaking out. She's like, I've done physique. She didn't have a problem losing weight. She didn't have a problem getting lean, but her hair was falling out and she lost her period. And she's like, I'm so mentally attached to my body that I can't get myself to eat more. And I feel like that's what I need to do. So we looked. She was about 800 to 1,000 calories a day, increased closer to 1,800, eventually 2,200, and got a period back, got pregnant a year later, like wild. Like nutrition is wild, but that's why I am very big on balance and making sure you've got the right portions of each. So 20 to 30% total calories from fats. Don't hide from them, but they're should we eat full fat or reduce fat? Depends on the food. Depends on the food. It really, reduce fat, they might load it up with some other stuff. So if you're, you and I working together, so if that reduced fat bumps up your carbs and sends them a haywire, then it's not really serving you the purpose. If you're low on your fats on the regular with good foods, boom, you listed them, yogurt, cheese, cottage cheese, then I'd say go with the full fats. But that can very very much vary on the food. You can send me one, Amy, and I'll gladly take a look at it. But breaking down those numbers, it's 140-pound person should be about 140 grams of protein. Pretty simple. About 400 to 600 grams of carbs, 50 to 70 grams of fats. And again, that carb number really depends on your training and where you're at in your training cycle and with your goals really. So if you haven't tracked at all, simplest thing you can do, and you might not even know what you're looking at, but I would encourage you to track for a week, download MyFitnessPal, track for a week and just get a good idea of the overall number and also where that little pie chart breaks down. Get a good see if you're lacking, if you're not in alignment with any of these numbers, and then feel free, shoot me a DM. You got my email. I can always take a look at a 7-day food log and say, yeah, you'd probably perform a little better, or you'd lose a little more weight, or we can do this, just by taking a look at a week. And really, with people I work one-on-one, I don't even like to set food goals until I see a week of what you're eating because I don't want to throw you off. We got to see where you're at. But let's jump into fueling. So, proper day of fueling. This is what I would say, particularly for a runner, maybe not a bodybuilder, maybe not a physique model, but This is what a balanced day might look like for a runner training 5 days a week. And I started, and a lot of this is stuff I do in my daily foods. So it might change for you. It might change for you, but oatmeal, eggs, and fruit, oh man, oh yeah, my fruit jumped to the second line. Berries, I can't go without my coffee. I might have a little hard time drinking my coffee tomorrow, thanks to Kat talking about blood coffee. Um, but that starts your day with slow carbs. The oatmeal, slow carbs. You've got a little protein, and that's just helping that rebuilding process, getting aminos in your system. Another thing I like about the oatmeal and the berries, you're getting fiber, so it gets the system moving. You want to have the system moving in the morning. Maybe don't eat oatmeal right before a long run if it gets you moving a little too much. But that fiber is good, and it's also good. That and the eggs, the protein, are good for satiety. So that fills you up. It's going to keep you a little fuller throughout your day, and that's kind of the goal with your breakfast. That's why they say breakfast, most important meal a day. One snack. Everybody always messages me looking for snack ideas. My go-to Greek yogurt, especially as the runs get longer, I'll do a Greek yogurt, throw some honey on there, throw a banana because I'm going higher carbs with that banana, a little extra with the honey, and especially post-run snack. That banana is going to get me some potassium back in the system. If you see me at the finish line and you don't eat your banana, feel free to give it to me. I usually have like two or three of them. I have no shame in my game. And the Greek yogurt gets some protein. Then simple lunch. Don't It doesn't have to be complicated. Chicken, rice bowl, veggies, like super simple, simple structure. You've got your carbs, you've got your protein, and then when I say veggies, you got some color along the side of that plate. That's why I like that image. You got a little color going down the side of the plate, and veggies or fruits should be a staple just for the nutrition benefits. Pre-run snacks, I did probably a year where I was eating rice cakes rice cake more so on my physique and bodybuilder journey, where I have rice cakes before every workout. It's another slower digesting, gives you fuel, and they're just once you get a taste for them, they're good. But you could also throw some nut butter on there if you want to get a little bit of protein and fats in. And then dinner, I keep it simple. Salmon, potatoes, greens, or beef, rice, and greens, chicken, rice, and greens. We do a lot of rice in my house. If any, everybody in my normal group could probably tell us what Kim's background is because I always talk about how we have rice for dinner in this house all the time. My wife is Ecuadorian, so with that comes a lot of Spanish food. So we're a big rice household. Let's jump ahead. Priming before you perform. So this one is this one's a big one, and a lot of it, in my opinion, is around the meal timing. Especially, we all have different digestive systems. We digest differently. Some people digest a little slower, some digest faster. But the real deal is that pre-run meal sets the tone for the workout. You don't have fuel in your body. I don't Shorter runs, I don't feel I have to really fuel, but I can't not run a marathon or without anything in my body. I got to have something generally 2 to 3 hours before. And I'm going to caveat, I'm going to put a little asterisk on this one. Balanced meal, carbs, protein, minimal fat. If you're a 5 a.m. runner, here comes the first asterisk for this. You're probably not going to have a turkey sandwich and some fruit. You might want to just go with something like a stroop waffle or the rice cake. And really, if you're a 5 a.m. runner, that would mean you're fueling at 2 to 3 a.m. So you might have to just have something quick. You might have to have something quick. That's what kills you with Run Disney, eating at 3 a.m. So this comes back to my asterisk, Lisa. Your body doesn't just your body doesn't just mysteriously get rid of those carbs. So I will have a very carb heavy dinner, and the nutrition coach in me tells me not to tell you all this, but I will. I have no shame in my game. Yeah, I was on Carissa and Pelkey's podcast a couple years ago, and they asked, and I just straight out said it. I generally eat Chipotle before a race and the night before a race, not like at 3 a.m. like Lisa. I generally have a heavy Chipotle meal because I'm getting rice and I'm getting protein, and I'll tell them to go easy on the beans because I just I don't want too much fiber prior to that, but that fuel is going to sit in your system. I could go deep into the science on why you probably shouldn't eat too late, but that would be my caveat night where before a race, I don't want a heavy meal, but I do want to get something in my system so I have some fuel waking up and then 30 to 60 minutes before while you're standing in the corrals, that's when you want lighter, faster digesting carbs. So the bananas, the rice cakes, the toast and honey, energy chews, stroop waffles. I will also take those. If you see me in the course and you don't eat your stroop waffle, do not throw it in the garbage. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Let's see. I got some things coming in on the chat. I'm so guilty of not eating before any run below 13 miles. Over that, I'll eat a waffle. I get a lot of it's not for everyone. So it's definitely not for everyone. I get a lot of people that say, no, I have to have something, but sometimes I do that. I'll have my dinner meal and that's it. I'm not hungry in the morning. Usually I will generally, when I go work out at 5 o'clock in the morning, as I did today, I will generally only have like a protein before that workout. And I don't go too crazy with it. So I I run I work out when I wake up as well. So I might sip a protein shake on the way there. And, you know, but I think the vast majority do prefer to fuel a little more and get that in their system. Let's see what Ashley said. Same, my first marathon last January, I was panic drinking electrolytes, trying to force myself to eat a banana as we waited to start at like 3 a.m. I mean, also, look at your own scenario. This is why we tell people do not test anything new out on on a race weekend. Don't test anything new, don't test anything fresh. Stick with what works for you. Don't go buying stuff at the expo and shoving it down your belly because oh my God, I got to get fuel. I got to do this. No, go with what works for you. My wife has a very strict fueling regimen that she likes to follow, and she feels good doing that. She had a little breakfast sandwich on the way as I drive, and then she's down in either a stroopwafel or banana, out on the way out there. And she's always, you sure you don't want a banana? You sure you don't want this? And I'm like, at 13 miles, I generally feel fine. And I could scroll back a little bit, but I'm gonna hope that everybody was paying attention tonight. Um, glycogen, the primary fuel source. Does anyone know where that's stored outside besides the liver? Throw it in the chat or come off. Where's the glycogen stored? No idea. Well, that's what I'm here for. Larry coming in the clutch. Glycogen is stored in the muscle. Denise got it too. Glycogen is stored in the muscle. So, as someone who carries around probably a more than average muscle mass, last time I did a scan, I have about 120 pounds of muscle on my body, which is a little more than average. I have more glycogen stored in my muscle, naturally stored in my body that come a 13 mile run, come a 13 mile run, I've got fuel stores that my body can tap into. If you're somebody that doesn't do any strength training, you've never done strength training, you're gonna just naturally have less glycogen in your system so because there's not a lot of place for the glycogen to store. So that's another reason why I'm a big proponent of that. I don't want to call it my holy trinity, the cardio, the strength training, and the nutrition. And we can make it a square if you want because you got to put some emphasis on the recovery. But that's why I'm big on those being the keys to performance. But we'll get back on track. But that's kind of why I can get away with not having to have anything in the morning. And she's got to have her banana. But one day I just folded and I had the banana. I got like 2 miles in and it was just sloshing around my stomach. I didn't feel good. And I was like, stick to the plan. So stick with what works for you. Definitely want to avoid heavy fats, high fiber, or too much protein. I'm not going to go and eat a steak, pre-run. It's another one that it's your body has to work to digest it. One of the main benefits of protein is that your body has to work to digest it, so you actually burn calories from digesting protein. So if your protein's on point, then you don't have to worry too much. But practice the pre-run meal, feel it out, And don't wait until rest day. Don't wait until the expo to start grabbing things. But again, this is another one where I feel like you know, people either go a little too left or a little too right. So keeping the tank top. So mid-run fueling is where a lot of people will just fall apart. And it's not really because of the effort, it's just because your body runs out of energy. I have seen both ends of the gamut. I have seen people that are like, nope, I don't have anything at all. And I usually conk out at around 6 miles, and right around when I hit the hour mark. Well, now your body's burned through a lot of glycogen. It's burned through a lot of its energy stores. You need to get something, and it generally happens around the 60-minute mark. So 45 to 60 minutes after starting is when I would say, let's start getting some fuel into the system. From there, a good rule of thumb. And again, everybody's body's different. So everybody's response to food is a little bit different. 30 to 60 grams of carbs per hour. And that means, you can, if I was giving somebody, I have a young lady, Allison, she's coming to Wine and Dine that I work with. I don't even know if she's on here. She might be. And she was trying to figure out when does the fueling start? Like, does she need to fuel for a 45-minute run? Probably not. Probably not. You probably don't need to fuel extra or take in. We'll get there. You probably don't need to fuel extra or more for a 45-minute run. But once you go over that hour mark, that's when I see people most need to do it. So for hour two, you want to go up by about 30 to 60 grams of carbs. That, it's actually not that much, Tommy. And so if we're looking at 30, just math, I'll get mathy. It's 4 calories, 4 calories per gram. So 4 calories is going to be a hundred, 4 times 3, 120 grams of carbs. Man, I hate having to do math in front of people. So one thing I don't like to do when I'm on these 120 grams, 120 calories in 30 grams of carbs. We double that about 240. So 60 might be a little closer to the heavy end, but I think 120 is well within there. But again, this is somewhere I would say, especially if you're on a weight loss journey. Now I gave you the left hand side where people aren't feeling enough. Let's give you the right hand side where people are just fueling too much. If you jump right to 60 and you don't test it out, you're overfueling. And if you do 60 grams every hour, 60, 60, we said 240, 240. You're a marathon. You're taking in 1,000 calories, and your body might not need that. It might, but taking in more than 1,000 calories, depending on how fast you go, might not need it. But that's where I say, test it out. If you still feel like you're bonking out, there's nothing that says you have to go from 30 to 60. You can go from 30 to 35. All right, just a little more fuel help me out. A little half stroop waffle or a couple of gummies, or going for 30 to 40. All right, 40. I'm still feeling like I'm gassing out before hour two hits. Maybe I should add a little more in. Wow, 50 grams. I'm feeling good. And with that question that it seems like a lot, we also run, you know, uh, we might have somebody on this call that runs a 6-minute mile, which is going to be very extremely taxing on the body. Their heart rate's going to probably be through the roof. We might have somebody that runs a 10-minute mile, and and that's also their cruiser pace, and that's how they enjoy running. And we might also have somebody that does an 18-minute mile that also feels like the guy doing 6 miles because they're just not at that level in their journey yet. They're not a 6-minute mile person. Their heart rate gets jacked up. So based on that heart rate response, they might have a much deeper fueling need. So listen to your body, test it out, and test it out some more. And test the gels, please. Test them during the training, not on race day. The stomach is it's an organ, but I like to say it's a muscle too. You can train it. So get your body used to these foods. I'll always be honest when I don't practice what I preach. I did this last year at Dopey. Guy I work with, Chris, he recommended. Chris, you want to hear? Let's scroll through people. Can't see all the list, but Chris recommended that I that I try. Gosh, now I'm gonna blank on it. Morton gels. It was disgusting. For you people that eat Morton gels during a race, you need to go get you. Yeah, Ashley, I'm with you. Y'all need to get checked because Morton gels are not it. They are not it for me. And yeah, I didn't love them. Lisa, thank God I'm not the only one because he was so adamant about the Morton gels, and he gave me one at the expo before Dopey last year, and I was like, oh, I'll save it for the marathon. I could not get to the banana stand quick enough. I could not get to those chocolates. I was like, I need to get this out of my taste buds. But yes, whatever competitive edge it gives, it's not worth it. So don't test them out. Train the gut like you train the legs. That's the runner I wish I looked like when I'm running. I don't look anything like that when you see me run. Huma plus gel. See, like Lindsay, I might try Huma because everybody's been talking about it. We can't forget about electrolytes. So hydration very tied into performance, and it's not just the water, it's balance. So when I say balance, we want to balance the electrolyte. So every hour or so when we're running, we're losing sodium, we're losing potassium, we're losing magnesium through sweat. It's natural. It's gonna happen, especially if you run. You never know when you run in Orlando. Like it could be 40 degrees in the morning, it could be 90 degrees by the time you finish. So you got to be taking in not just water, electrolyte level. So if you replace only the water, your electrolyte levels will actually drop, and that leads to fatigue. You end up kind of peeing out more and sweating out more. It kind of pushes it out. So that leads to fatigue. It tends to lead to cramping. You can get nausea from that, and that's no good. Let me see who here has weighed themselves before and after a long run while I take a sip of water. All right, let's pull, miss. Okay, a lot of people have done it good. Where are you, Miss Cat? Where are you? Cat, would you say you stay very hydrated during your runs? It's, it's a
Yes,
stupid
sir.
question. It's a stupid question. I could have answered. She said, yes, sir. I interrupted her. Um, she said, yes, sir, but I know she runs with a hydration vest on and she's got all her fuel in there. So I kind of knew the answer there. But that's probably why there's not much of a difference for you because you're putting it right back in your system as you as you sweat it out. But generally, good rule of thumb, that difference in pounds, 1 pound should be a 16 ounce water bottle that you need to replace. So you can kind of test it if you were to run dehydrated, which I mean you don't really want to do, and you lose 3 pounds, generally during the run, you're going to want to have three 16 ounce bottles of water. That's that's kind of the simple way to figure it out. Add the electrolytes to your water. So I actually don't love the taste of water. It's boring. I became an LMNT addict like a year ago, 2 years ago, and that's one Amazon subscription that I just will not let go. I love those darn things. Right now, right now I think I'm on watermelon. Don't try to get me to try the chocolate ones or the mint ones. Nope, no thank you. Liz, the scale's not the devil. The scale's just telling us a little story. But we'll figure out why the scale's the devil. But whatever it is, LMNT, Noon, the big, big thing about one of the things I do love, not big thing about them, LMNT is that you can go on their website, they will give you the recipe. They will tell you exactly what their recipe, it probably still won't taste the same, but they'll tell you how to make it on their site, which I'd rather just pay the 20 bucks on Amazon for the month's supply or 30 bucks, whatever it is. But, you can go and buy the salt, you can go and buy the magnesium, you can make it yourself, you can get the potassium and blend that stuff all yourself. Tailwind versus scratch. Tailwind versus scratch. I personally do not use either of those, so I don't want to comment, but Kat, You know what? I will test both. And one thing you'll find about me is I will sometimes contradict myself. So when I said don't try anything new on race day, I will actually try the tailwind and the stretch at the race next weekend, and I'll give you a review on our post race call if that's all right with you, Kat. I had LMNT the tailwind or scratch. I'm a sweaty, a salty sweater. I like pineapple scratch, tailwind. All right, so we got a lot of fans. I will try it out. I will let you know how I feel. I'll keep you posted. Jump my windows around. Tailwind 100. I should try the tailwind first or should I try the scratch first? Seems like we got a little battle for which one's the best. Tailwind too salty. I'll try them all. Another one where I feel like people people just drop the ball. But the post run meal, this is when, if we were to scroll back, that recovery into adaptation phase starts happening. This is probably a lot of people say breakfast is the most important meal of the day. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with this is it, like post workout meal where you want to kickstart that recovery process. The faster I can recover from my workout today, the better my body is going to feel for my workout tomorrow. That has been my mentality. I will die on that hill. And, it's just, you got to kickstart that. It's the really the secret weapon. You know, what you eat about 60 to 90 minutes is going to really set up performance the next day. And there are plenty of studies. I didn't pull a ton for tonight, but there are plenty of studies that show if you don't within 60 minutes start refueling those glycogen stores, they will not. That's when your body's primed to absorb all that. So they're not going to get that adequate recovery. And that's what we want. And so 20 to 40 grams of protein, 2 to 3 times as much carbs as protein on a post run. You just generally want to go heavy and get those carbs back in your system to kickstart the recovery. And I go protein smoothie, protein, you do protein powder, oats, banana, almond milk, simple. Might not have that with you if you're out at a race, but generally use that as kind of a guideline to get there. The You might have heard the anabolic window, like that's not a myth. They say anabolic window's myth. It's not 30 minutes, but if you get that fuel back in, it's going to really help your total daily recovery and your overall nutrition. So make sure you can train hard, but you got to refuel just as hard. Here we go. This was the section I was excited for. So I've had and ooh, it's almost 7:30. Time's been flying. I won't speed up. I'll just give you extra time if I need to tonight. You can dip if you need to, and I'll send the recording out to everybody. But GLP-1s, it's the hot word right now. It's a hot word because it works. It works, and if you're on them, I think a lot of people
Forgot we had a call tonight.
in the coaching space and a
Nice.
lot of people in the nutrition space.
Excellent.
Who else do I have to mute? I always feel bad because they don't know they're talking until, unless they watch the replay. I think I got them all. But they're the big thing right now. A lot of people in the industry we're scared of them, but I think it's a tool. Use it like a tool. Just do the right things around them. And I work with multiple people that really they use GLP-1s. They've seen great success. A couple of them are on this call. I won't call them out, but I've gone to them for information. How you feel? How's it? How do you feel? Because I'm not a good coach if I don't learn how to coach somebody who's taking GLP-1 drugs. So if you're on them, though, the big thing is appetite cues are going to be blunted. The goal is appetite suppression. There's my words. So you're going to feel fuller faster. Your muscles may still be underfueled. GLP was the missing link. Like Lisa and I started working together well into your GLP journey. Now that you shared, I don't feel bad calling you out on it. I don't want to put you on blast, but you were already down and your goals. You want to share your goals? You're- We'll see if she wants to. I won't put her on blast. But she wanted to make sure. So this leads Lisa. You were actually one of the ones I was thinking of. Come on off mute. Well, Caesar says,
Hi. Hi. I found the mute button this time.
I mean, there you go. when we started working, what was the goal? Because you were on GLP-1 for quite some time.
Yeah, I've been on it for I think 2.5 years, 2 years. My goal was to maintain muscle.
So she wanted to maintain muscle. We integrated strength training. And I think the other thing you want to do, you want to make sure you had enough fuel for these long runs.
100%. I always bonk around 10, always.
And it's it's still a struggle, right?
Yep, yep.
Still-
I've tried because I don't like the gels. I can't get them down at all anymore. So I tried this last half with candy, all candy, Swedish fish, Starburst. I had Scratch for
Sweet.
hydration. It
All
worked a
right.
lot better.
All right. See, we got to figure out what works. So,
Yeah,
and she's been figuring out what works. And you just ran a half marathon. You're just about to sign up for another one. She's like constantly signing up for runs. So we're finding what works, but we're also incorporating the strength training, which, with that appetite suppression, your body tends to get underfueled and it doesn't, your body doesn't choose if it's going to lose fat or muscle. It loses a little bit of both. You go deeper into the cut, you're probably going to lose a lot of bit of both. Generally, people don't want to lose muscle. They do want to lose fat. So, how do we offset that? We've incorporated the training. In the nutrition that you can get in, we prioritize protein. So, prioritize protein, prioritize hydration if you're on GLP-1s. You can try eating smaller, more frequent meals. That's what I, found has worked with a few different people. Avoiding skip meals because it actually, one of the other benefits of them is they shut down food noise. So you, I get it. When I'm hungry and I walk by the pantry, it's like almost like I can smell the peanut butter coming out of the pantry. It's not actually a thing, but I have a peanut butter. It's an addiction. It's an addiction. Hey, it's not drugs. So I I am hooked. I love peanut butter, and the GLP-1 will actually turn off that food noise in your body. Like they've been they've been shown that people taking them, they shut down some of the serotonin and the dopamine receptors, where people are quitting smoking because of them. I don't know if I'm actually supposed to. Let me make sure. I'll clip this part out. My wife works in clinical trials and they're testing them for alcoholics on clinical trials. I have to whisper this part, sorry. They're doing clinical trials to see if it can stop people from being an alcoholic and total ton of benefits. So avoid skipping meals because it's going to shut down all those things and you're just going to be completely underfueled. And if you're somebody training for a run, like that's just you don't want to be there. I would say track your total calories at least twice a week to make sure you're not in too much of a deficit. And by too much of a deficit, I would say ensuring you're getting, you know, God, you don't want to be, we'd really have to crank those numbers. I'd have to really, I'd have to really dial it in on an individual person to figure out, but you don't want to be 2,000 calories under where you should be. You don't want to be 15, especially if you're training for long runs. I would, the good rule of thumb though, on the protein side of things, keep it at about point eight to 1 gram of protein if you can. And, try to protein dense meals that don't fill you up are going to be your best friend there. But I think, the meds, they're really, they're tools. Don't look at them as a shortcut. Look at them as a complement. I work with, and I can't tell if it's her. There's been somebody commenting in the chat, and her doctor told us after we had been on a journey for quite some time, she was doing everything right, and I can't give her enough credit, like for the hard work she has put in on her training program. I hope you know I'm talking to you. And hard work training, she's doing strength training, she's doing running, she's following her nutrition to a T. I'll give her a clue. You have 50 Excel spreadsheets that track all this. Like she's a badass. And her doctor looked at her and he said, you're doing everything else right. Everything else points that you should be losing weight, but you're not. Let's try this. You're the ideal person because you're doing all the other things. So, you know, she found success with it. She's continued to strength train. And he goes, I love giving it to someone like you because you're not going to lose as much muscle because you're strength training. You're doing all these runs, so you're going to have to fuel yourself. You're not going to starve yourself. And she's been kicking ass on it, and she was kicking ass beforehand, but now she's doing it even more. So I'm glad to see, the scale move in your direction, and I'm really hoping that you get your perfect season this year, and we're going to make it happen. But there's me getting emotional. But the metabolism needs fuel to perform. So hopefully that gives a little clarity on GLP-1s. One thing I do recommend if you're on a single dose, a single injection per week, is to time your injection as far enough away from your long run as you can. So if your long run tends to be Sunday, take your injection Monday or Sunday night once you've refueled. That way, you're on the tail end of that injection, and your appetite will probably come back a little bit by Friday. The half-life of the medication is about a week, so you should have some appetite back by that point where it should make it easier to fuel around then. I would not say take your injection on Thursday and go for your long run on Saturday. Probably not the best idea. Oh man, I put my wrong. That's from my last slideshow. I use the same template. That should say how to keep it easy, how to keep it consistent, but simple meal ideas. For breakfast, I don't think meal prep has to be crazy. I am a I'm a creature of habit, so once I got my meals down, I figured out the macros. I will eat very similar things outside of dinner. Every night in dinner, that's when the wife and I are together, and I look for a little variability there. But breakfast, we talked about this before, overnight oats, protein, energy. You get energy and recovery out of that. So it's that solid meal to kick off your day. Snacks, I love the Greek yogurt. I love the berries because you get a lot of nutrients from those berries. Lunch, I do, turkey wrap if you're trying to get a little extra carbs. I'm a veggie, rice, meat person. I'm simple man with my nutrition, but I had a good turkey wrap when I was traveling this weekend, and there wasn't much junk in it. Came in about a week ago too, so it was good. Throwing some fruit in there if you're trying to get some extra carbs. And then I love the salmon, and you could substitute your meat there. If you're cutting, you're trying to get a little less fat. Whitefish, great substitute for salmon, chicken, turkey. Throw veggies in there, get the rice in, and just start that rebuild and restore process because that's where the hormones kind of kick in. The recovery hormones really kick in overdrive at night. So rice, getting that dopamine, that serotonin release that rice causes, the carbs cause, really helps with that recovery process. So let's see. What do you think? I'll give another question because I haven't asked one in a while. If you had to pick one area you think you need to improve on the most, is it protein? Is it hydration? Is it pre-run fueling? What do you think would move the needle the most for you? Gives me the boost I need. I'm getting Uncrustables for this next race. I'm getting Uncrustables. Protein, okay. Definitely protein. Whew. Hydration. Lindsay said her protein's fine. She's a meat eater. She's good to go. Good on you, Lindsay. I love it. Hydration and post run. Liz, post run. Pre run fuel. Okay. During run fuel. Test it out. I don't know if that's Dale or Lori. Yeah, make you guys start logging in. So I mean, I think I'm seeing primarily protein, but a little bit of everything. Primarily protein. The first things first, I would say start tracking. And we don't know what we don't know. And a lot of people don't know what they don't know, what they don't know they don't know. Like people, you can, yeah, I think I'm eating enough protein. And I've seen this plenty where I say, all right, can break me down a day and do the math in my head real quick, just guesstimate about 40 grams. Okay, can you start? Let's track for week one. Let's see where you're at for week one. Yeah, ends up being about 40 grams. Chronically under where you should be. I mean, that would mean you're 40 grams. That means you're about 30, you know, there goes me trying to do math again. You're about 50, 40, 50 pounds to if you're eating 40 grams of protein. And so start by tracking. Just see where you're at. If you want to, I have a calculator that actually will do, I can do all the math on it and see where you kind of should be, get a better idea of it. But start by tracking and see where you're at, and then start, looking at incorporating more, getting closer to that 1 gram per pound of body weight, and just figuring out what that looks like for you. Do not, please, if you're eating 40 grams of protein and you said, well, Coach Tom said I weigh 170 pounds, so I got to eat 170 grams of protein. Please do not go and attempt to eat 170 grams of protein tomorrow if you're at 40 or 50 grams. Today, if you're at 40, start by getting to 50. Hit that a couple days in a row. Move it to 60. Hit it a couple days in a row. Move it to 70. Keep working your way up and building up. And I can almost guarantee body composition will change with that for the positive. We also have people say pre-run fuel. Again, test that out. Test it out. See what works best for you. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but I mean, there's so many there's so many of those little subscription boxes you can buy now that come with like a taster of each. Get a subscription box and just get a bunch of tasters and see what hits for you. Try the banana, try the rice cake. Um, I tell this story all the time. I met a guy on Dopey, Gordon, like 2 years ago on the marathon course. My man pulled out a sweet potato, a baked sweet potato out of his bag. I was like, "Yeah, you want it? I'll give you one. I got one. If you're hungry, I got a sweet potato." I did not take his sweat. This was at like mile 22. This sweet potato had been out, and I did not take it. But I was like, well, if it works for you, go with it. Like you got to stick with that. And hydration. This should probably, I would say, it's probably. I said Lindsay said hydration. I would say this one's the easiest one to fix, and to get under control. I will always be blunt. I'll always be transparent. If you're peeing yellow, you're probably dehydrated unless you're taking vitamins that really neon up your urine. But look while you potty. If it's not clear to tinge, you're probably tinged orange, tinged yellow. You're probably a little behind on the hydration, and hydration is something you won't notice until it's too late. My mouth is dry. Everything else is already dried out. Headache might come on, might start feeling a little nauseous. So you don't want that. And hydration, I mean, again, it's just an easy one to fix. They sell hydration packs. I don't like to carry anything when I run, so I will generally just hit the water stand up, and I'm doing them like I'm a college kid at a shop party, just taking those little baby waters. Always eat a peanut butter and honey Uncrustable before runs. I'm gonna go with the Uncrustable. I'm trying it out. But who's got what do we have questions? You can come off mic now, or you can come, you don't even have to drop them in the chat. Yell them out loud if you got questions. I feel like I've been doing all the talking, so we can, there's that mute button. I can hit unmute all. No, you could throw them in the chat too if you don't want to talk to me. Wow, no questions at all. I wowed your mind. Hopefully, hopefully, allergic to Gatorade. That's tough.
Hey, I
What
have a
was,
question.
yeah,
Uh, Okay, so Wine and Dine is next weekend. Um, at what point do I switch my workouts over?
that's a tomorrow question, and I'll switch them tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
This is for general people, not people that work with me already.
I can ask.
You can ask. You can also message me, and I'll try to get back to you. I will actually. We got about 25 minutes. I'm gonna upload this replay. I will upload this replay. I will send it out. I'm gonna also send out a little nutrition guide with it, a little breakdown. So, how much protein per meal do I suggest? Splitting it throughout the day. Whitney, that's a very hard question for me to answer based on based on I don't know what your meal looks like. I don't know what your I should say I'm trying to read all the questions out. I don't know what your meal timing looks like. You know, are you a breakfast, lunch, and dinner person? I personally I have a breakfast and then I have two or three little mini lunches throughout the day because I take in 250 grams of protein every single day. So for me to get that, it's very hard for me to eat that much in one go. I'll eat every 2 hours during the middle of the day, and then at dinner, like I think I eat after breakfast at like 9 a.m. I eat sometime around 11 or noon. I eat again at 1 to 2. I eat again sometime around 4 to 5, and then we have dinner once I hop off here. And so that's kind of difficult. It depends how you're splitting it up, and also depends on your protein goal. So if you're having, you know, if you let's say you weigh 120 pounds and your goal is 120 grams of protein, and you generally have 4 meals a day, I'd look to get 30 grams from breakfast or like a post-workout shake, 30 grams at lunch, 30 grams at dinner, and then snack in maybe 2 15 grams like a bar or something else during the day. During the day. So really depends. I can you know, if we looked at your numbers, it'd probably be easy to figure out, but it also really depends on what your meal frequency is. I know some people that just like to eat twice a day. I love food. I'm like, give me my protein. How much strength do you lose during marathon training program? A solid amount. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You lose a solid amount. The only way to offset that is to like, and I'm using general. I don't lose any strength during the marathon program because I balance the two, and I've been doing it for, I'm going on my fifth marathon. I've found a way to balance that training load with my nutrition, and my goal, with anybody that I work with is that they don't lose any strength during a marathon training program. But if I look at that question as I think I should be, if you're if you're not really doing a lot of strength training and your protein's not in the right spot, and by a lot I mean 2 to 3 workouts a week, good amount for about 45 to 60 minutes, and your protein's not where it should be, you're going to lose a substantial amount. And if you're underfueling, we'll lose even more. We'll lose even more during that. So that's what I say. Get that, get that, get the protein in, get the strength training in, consistent plan balanced with your running is going to be solid. Lisa said, so what does 30 grams of carbs look like? You get that I mean, that's like a slice of whole bread, I think is 30 grams of carbs. Let's say, so a reason when I work with somebody on nutrition, and even when I work with myself and my wife, rice is my go-to because in my opinion, it's the easiest carb to measure out. Like we do potatoes and they're all chopped up. Like you got to weigh it certainly. A rice, I know that a half cup of white rice, half cup cooked of white rice is about 30 grams of carbs. So it's easy to just throw it in that little cup and tap it off, and we're good. Half cup of cooked pasta generally flows about the same as rice. Banana is going to be in that range. And then, with the snacks out there, with the stroopwafels and stuff like that, those are pretty easy to just look at those and see what they've got in them because they'll all vary a little bit. Any suggestions for electrolyte? I told you I love LMNT. That's my go-to. But I'm sure other people try other ones and they love them. I never know what type of protein powder to get. Assume all protein powders are not created equal. Is there something to look for when purchasing protein? Absolutely. I ate cheaper protein when I was younger because it was cheaper. It was cheaper, and I buy this bulk. I think it was from myprotein.com, and it was like a bulk bag with like 70 servings in it or 100 servings, and I was constantly bloated. There was a lot of filler in it, a lot of garbage, and I just felt bloated. I'm currently I'm a first form guy through and through. I absolutely love their stuff, and they write me little handwritten notes, which in this day and age, I held the door for 5 high school kids today, and only one of them said thank you. So I do judge society a little. I was like, these little rude kids. But they write me a handwritten thank you note, and that makes me a repeat customer. So just hearing the words thank you, goes a long way in this day and age. And having that handwritten note in every box that I buy is fantastic. And their stuff tastes great, except they only sell magical charms, which taste just like Lucky Charms around St. Patrick's Day now. It used to be a year-round thing, and that does rub me the wrong way. But I got salted peanut butter, and on my social media, I'm giving away a pumpkin spice protein one if you follow the rules. So that's my favorite, and you don't want it loaded with fillers. I would be apprehensive on where it's produced. You want a GMP facility. Um, and yeah, there's a lot of they're definitely not all created equal. What kind of protein and how much? One scoop. Do I add to the oatmeal? Feel like I can't get the texture right. Yeah, I generally do about one scoop. I find it mixes a little better with overnight oats. And it really, the texture, I would say you probably might want to add a little bit more water if that's funny. Hope this helps others. But for those who are salty sweaters, how do we know how much sodium to take in on the long runs? Hmm. I wouldn't recommend going more than like one packet, like an LMNT, every probably 2 hours. You can overdo the sodium. It could lead to some other issues. But if you're a salty sweater, that's a really good question because I'm not sure if there's a way we could test how much you're losing is the question. So I would say a packet every 2 hours would probably be the max I would do. How much should you adjust your calorie intake when you're injured and having to completely change your training plan? Is that my carry?
Yes.
I'll send you a call link.
Okay.
I'll send you a call link. I want to unpack that completely
Okay.
because we're gonna have to work through that one.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks.
I got you. What is better, white rice or brown rice? They said for years brown rice was better, but there's, because it's a little more fiber, but there's also benefits to white rice. It's kind of in my hands as long as the calories are the same, six in one, half dozen in the other, it's one for one. I white rice probably 9 out of 7 nights a week. So um I don't have an issue with it. It's never blown me up or anything. So I like it. I like it. And well, yeah, that's what I got for you tonight. Keep an eye on your email. Keep an eye on your email. I'm going to send you a replay. I will send you a little nutrition guide, a little one pager that goes along with all this information. I'll send you that, and I'm not supposed to say it. All right, I'll say it. I'm doing a 21-day challenge. I know the next challenge that I promised, I told Bob and the Rise and Run crew I would do is that the long one is not until January, and I haven't decided on a date yet. But I'm doing a 21-day challenge for anyone that wants in, so there'll be a link to sign up for that. And yeah, I hope you join me on the challenge. We do calls like this every single week, but you'll get first dibs. I'm keeping this one very, very limited on the signups on how many I let into this one. So I'll put the link in the email after this. And I am not opening this up to my one-on-one or group clients. So do not put that in the group chat. But if you are a one-on-one or a group client that did show up and did show support and did get engaged and ask questions, the Heidis, the Larrys, I'm just first two I could see. I will open those doors to you, Denise. Just a little fun challenge. Please do not tell everyone and their mother on the call tomorrow season. I'll open it up to Sue as well because you're going to tell Sue, and I know you got a big mouth season. But yeah, this is fun for me. I love doing it. If you have another topic you want me to cover, I will cover it. But give me 45 minutes and I'll send that email out to, there's that laugh I was looking for. I'll send that email out to everybody. Hopefully you join me on the 21-day challenge. It kicks off November 3rd. And yeah, thank you all for being here with me tonight. Appreciate you. Have a good night.
Talk to you later, Tom.
See ya. Where's my, oh, I lost my Zoom buttons. I don't know how to get out of
Good
here.
night.
Bye.
Bye.
Where's my Zoom buttons? There we go. I can't escape.